This is the antichrist. Islam will eventually rule the entire earth, every nation. It is not a religion of proposition, it is a religion of imposition. Convert or die. It's jihad. Wherever Islam gets a foothold, it becomes a stronghold. This is why they keep having children, moving into nations, and having lots of children, while Westerners castrate their children and abort their babies. They have the long view of things. If we can just get people into the future, we can rule the future. And the goal ultimately is twofold, that when they bring complete and total domination of the world, they will rule with an iron fist. It'll bring about a peace that will then allow a king to rise up and rule the world as his kingdom, their king.
Because I'm like, they would call Islam a death cult. And I'm like, but they have a higher birth rate. Like, how is it? Like, I'm like a child, dude. It's not even like I'm quoting religious texts. I'm like, how is something a death cult when they have more kids? Mm-hmm. Because at the time he had no kids. And I'm like, it's funny. My brother's friend Abdul has 9 kids. Like, how is that? Like, how is that the death guy? And so that's just when things started unraveling. And, you know, I wish him well and everything, but it really is like he painted himself into a pretty brutal corner where, and I pointed some stuff out during his divorce where he was deathly afraid of Muslims back then. Like he would be like, oh, they're going to find out where I live or blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, his pregnant wife, he's like telling her to take an Uber. I'm like, who do you think drives Ubers? I'm like, it's going to be a Muslim guy. Like he didn't even care. So at that point, I'm like, is it dementia? Because things don't line up. Like, let's say you actually are deathly afraid of Muslims. The last thing you're ever going to do is take an Uber. Like, and the funniest thing is Uber, I think, is actually deprogramming Hollywood, because every time back in LA, I'd take an Uber. Like I'd end up with some dude named Mohammed or Abu Baker. And by the end, we're just like dying laughing. Like he's, oh, my friend, oh, welcome. And I'm just like, oh, hey, Abu. And then by the end, we're like making fun of Israel. And like, it turns out like in their last country, they were like an engineer. Yeah. And now they're driving an Uber. And I'm like, what? Why do you got to drive a car when you're an engineer? It's like, oh, my friend, you know, we had to leave. It was bombed. And I'm just like, oh man, those guys suck, huh? And they're like, oh, my friend, it's okay, peace be upon every. And I'm just like, man, these are like nice guys. Like Uber really did kind of change the game. Uh-huh. And so I don't know. That's just a couple stories.
It goes really against the narrative. They want to kill us. They hate us. They hate our way of life, huh?
Yeah. Meanwhile, an LA guy goes from movies to TV and he's miserable. But Mohammed from Iraq goes from managing a factory to driving an Uber, and he's smiling and has 10 kids. It's like something isn't adding up here. Uh-huh. And so, you know, like in LA, it's like you lose one thing, one of your precious little squares. Yeah. And you're just miserable. Oh, why do I have to drive a car? He's like, oh, welcome, my friend. Oh, 5 stars, please. Oh, thank. And you're just like, how are you so happy? Like, why are you such a nice guy? Yeah. Like, you're not a terrorist. Like, you're not trying to blow someone up, you know? And so I think that was a major turning point as well. I think Uber changed all of politics.
Wow. Let me take a shift real quick because I'm into that's what I do for a living, actually.